The fleet waited. 5 million soldiers, thousands of warships, an entire sky filled with Reach steel. The captured world turned slowly beneath them. Inside the flagship command center, nobody spoke much. The battle plans had already been finalized, the attack routes mapped, the landing zones assigned. The waiting was the hardest part. Kenny stood at the main viewport staring down at the planet. The first true offensive of the war. The first time he wasn't reacting. This time he had come to take something. A soft pair of arms wrapped around him from behind. "Celine." He smiled slightly. "You should be asleep. So should you." He couldn't argue with that. The Queen rested her head against his back. For a moment neither spoke. The stars drifted silently beyond the glass. Eventually she sighed. "Be careful." Kenny turned toward her. Celine looked calm, but only on the surface. He knew her too well now. She was worried, genuinely worried. "You fought in Eclipse." She paused. "You've survived assassins."
"You've survived your father, but this feels different." Kenny nodded, because she was right. This wasn't survival anymore. This was war. Real war. With real armies, real casualties, real consequences. He gently kissed her forehead. "I'll come home." Celine smiled. "You better." Then she pointed a finger at him. "Or I'll resurrect you and kill you myself." Kenny laughed. Noted. Several hours later she remained on Reach while Kenny boarded the lead assault cruiser. Pines arrived carrying enough weapons to start a small revolution. Lyra followed behind him. The pair walked together toward the shuttle bay. Something about the way they moved caught Kenny's attention. Too close, too comfortable, too familiar. Interesting, very interesting. At the shuttle ramp, Lyra finally stopped. Pines stopped too. "You should stay." Lyra folded her arms. "No, yes. No, yes." The argument continued for almost 3 minutes. Eventually Pines won, mostly because he was more stubborn. Lyra looked annoyed, then suddenly grabbed him by the front of his jacket. Pines blinked. The surrounding soldiers immediately pretended not to watch. Lyra kissed him, hard, directly, without warning. The soldiers definitely watched now. Several began grinning. Pines looked completely stunned. Lyra pointed at him. "Don't be stupid." Pines nodded. "Okay. And get home safe." Another nod. "Okay." She narrowed her eyes. "I'm serious." Pines smiled. "I know." For a moment neither moved. Then Lyra stepped back. The moment lingered. Kenny watched all of it, silently, waiting, patiently. The shuttle doors finally closed. The craft launched. The second they entered orbit, Kenny looked toward Pines. Pines already knew. "Oh no." Kenny smiled. "Oh yes." Pines sighed. "What?" Kenny folded his arms. "So." A pause. "You finally kissed the girl." Pines immediately groaned. The surrounding officers burst into laughter. Kenny continued. "It only took what?" He pretended to think. 3 years? Pines pointed. "I hate you." "No you don't. Fair." The fleet journeyed toward the target world. Hours later the Armada reached attack position. Thousands of ships spread throughout orbit. The enemy world filled every screen. The moment had arrived. Kenny activated a private transmission. One recipient. Lord Rain. Several moments passed. Then the hologram appeared. His father looked older, angrier, more tired. The war was wearing on him. Good. Lord Rain frowned immediately. "Kenny." Kenny nodded. "Dad." The title sounded almost insulting. Silence lingered. Then Kenny got straight to the point. "Surrender the planet." Lord Rain laughed. Kenny didn't. The laughter slowly stopped. Kenny continued. "Take your soldiers." Another pause. "Leave." Another. "The world becomes Reach territory." Silence. Then Lord Rain smiled. A poisonous smile. "You mean the world you and the Emperor forced us into destroying another planet to support?" Kenny laughed. Actually laughed. The reaction clearly wasn't expected. Lord Rain's expression darkened. Kenny shook his head. "You still doing that?" "What?" "The blaming everyone else thing." The older man's jaw tightened. Kenny smiled. "Mate." A pause. "Don't make me parent you." Silence. The bridge became deadly quiet. Even the officers stopped breathing. Then Kenny leaned forward slightly. "And don't make me start counting." That struck exactly where Kenny intended. His father visibly twitched. Rage flashed across his face. Lord Rain's voice dropped. "Cold. Dangerous. If those soldiers can't defend the planet." A pause. They don't deserve to live on it. Kenny sighed. Okay. Another pause. Tried being nice. The transmission ended. The war began. The battle lasted 11 hours. Orbital defenses died first, then fleet engagements, then planetary shields, then the ground war. 5 million Reach troops descended. 2 million Rain soldiers resisted. The fighting was brutal. Cities burned. Fortresses collapsed. Entire mountain ranges became battlefields. Kenny personally led the assault, exactly as promised. When the final stronghold fell, the planet surrendered. Victory belonged to Reach. The cost, however, was significant. Nearly 1 million Reach soldiers had fallen. The casualty reports arrived slowly, painfully. Every name mattered. Every life mattered. Kenny read them all. When the occupation began, he left 4 million troops behind, more than enough to secure the world. The remaining fleet prepared to return home hours later. Kenny and Pines sat aboard their personal cruiser, exhausted, silent. The newly conquered world slowly shrank behind them. For a rare moment, neither spoke. Then suddenly a transmission request appeared. Unknown source. Kenny frowned, accepted it. Lord Rain appeared, smiling. That immediately felt wrong. Pines noticed too. You look happy. Lord Rain laughed. The sound sent chills down Kenny's spine. You think you won? Pines leaned back. Is taking your planet not winning? Lord Rain laughed harder, then asked a question. What planet? Silence. Kenny frowned, then turned. So did Pines. Behind them, the world still hung in space. For 1 second, 2, 3. Then something appeared across the surface. Thousands of lights, millions, cracks, lines, energy. The entire planet glowed. Kenny stood instantly. No, the realization hit. Too late, far too late. The world exploded. The detonation consumed continents, oceans, atmosphere, everything. The planet shattered apart. A world became fire, then debris, then death. 4 million active Reach soldiers vanished, gone, in seconds. The bridge fell silent. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Kenny simply stared, his mind refusing to accept what he had just witnessed. 5 million people, gone. Behind him, Lord Rain laughed. The sound felt inhuman. If House Rain doesn't rule a planet? Another laugh. No one does. The older man smiled, almost proudly. We built self-destruct drills into every major world. Another pause. They reach the core. Another. They end everything. Silence. Kenny couldn't speak. Pines couldn't speak. The scale was too horrifying. Lord Rain smiled one final time. Welcome to war, son. The transmission ended. The hologram vanished, leaving only silence and the burning remains of an entire world. Kenny stood frozen before the viewport. Pines stood beside him. Neither spoke. Neither knew what to say. 4 million lives. 5, including the fallen during battle. Gone. Just like that. The cruiser continued drifting through space, and behind them, the graveyard of a planet burned in the darkness. The chapter ended there, with Kenny Reach staring silently at the consequences of war and realizing his father had become far worse than even he imagined.